Hey guys, Strimtom here, and today I'm going to be talking about the new items coming in Update 40 for Dungeons & Dragons Online. For those of you that want to remain spoiler-free, don't watch this video. We're going to be going through all of the items, kind of rating them, giving you an idea of how good they're going to be and what you should and shouldn't look out for. Also, you might notice this thing that's hanging on my back. Look at this cloak. Look how cool that is. It's this awesome cloak that's right here. I don't know why this keeps showing up. Get rid of this. Oh, I didn't even click. I clicked over here, so thank you. Anyway, look at this. Look at this awesome cloak. It's kind of clipping through my clothes. I don't know how often that's going to happen. I assume the cloaks are going to clip a lot, so hopefully they won't. But yeah, cloaks, they're now in DDO. They actually perform pretty well when they move, other than this obvious clipping problem right here. Oh, man. That was a bad thing to show off. Anyway, they look pretty good. They move around when you move. They look kind of neato. I don't know if there's like a cloak dye. Every cloak has their own independent color. You also have a new slot in your inventory, your cosmetic cloak slot. So you don't like the way your cloak looks, you can swap in another cloak. All named cloaks have their own appearance, so the Shadowhail cloak is always going to look like this, and you can get different cloaks to replace it. They also seem to actually handle rolling and dodging and stuff pretty well. They clip a lot apparently, but the back flipping, the front rolling, they all look pretty good. But yeah, apparently this outfit just clips real bad. Does it clip with my cosmetic outfit? No, it doesn't. Apparently anything with like a coat that hangs backwards, it clips quite a bit. But this doesn't clip, so that's fine. Anyway, we're going to go through the items. I'll stop dilly-dallying. And we'll also take a look to see exactly what there is here. So, we'll go through the stuff and exactly how it looks as well as how good it is. So to start off, we have the Sphere of Waves. And the Sphere of Waves is an orb, grants you Frozen Storm Lure, so 30% crit to cold and lightning spells, really good. Electric spell power for cold and lightning. 78 cold resist, which is kind of good. And then Paragon Cerulean Wave. Powerful magical implement hums in your hands. Spells you cast have a chance of freezing your targets in a block of solid ice. From my understanding, the DC on this is 90. So essentially, it's really, really good. It's like Leopard's Chill, but for cold spells. Very, very powerful. Doesn't apply to your lightning spells, but it does apply to your cold spells. Every druid's going to want to pick up one of these, and every cold sorcerer is going to want to pick up one of these. Fantastic item. I highly recommend it. Next, we got the Brilliant Crescent. It's a sickle. Oh, I forgot to put it in my hand. Whoopsie. Gotta buy this. Buy. Next, we got the Brilliant Crescent. The Brilliant Crescent is a very cool weapon. It is a sickle, which is generally considered as a bad weapon, but you can notice it's got that D6 plus 3, that expanded damage. It's got that 7 before it because it's keen, the plus 2W, so it actually does have a pretty decent base damage rating, and has Limb Chopper on it. The real question you have to ask yourself is, would you use this weapon? Probably not. This weapon seems kind of bad because it's a sickle. It already has keen, bringing up to a 19 or 20, so unless you're swashbuckling, this item is going to have a really bad critical threat range and multiplier. The only reason I would ever consider possibly using this item would be, I don't know, if you're playing as like an Oladra cleric who is also a swashbuckler. Outside of that, this weapon will never see use on any class or build. Then you have also the Brilliant Crescent, which is exactly the same. So we'll add one of those and buy one of those in a bit. Next, you got the Chaos Bow. Chaos Bow is super cool because it's a very, very powerful bow. It has Sovereign Vorpal. It has attack speed. It has Fetters of Unreality, so it applies vulnerability stacks. This is just a good solid bow. Great raid weapon. All around good. Is it better than the cold bow? The difference between this bow and the cold bow is that this bow has Vorpal on it, which doesn't matter too much, but it's kind of useful in Reaper. Once you get targets pretty low, below 3,000, you hit a lot, so it's not too bad. As well, it applies vulnerability, which is extremely powerful. So I would say the Chaos Bow has a good chance to actually be used in endgame by a lot of different people. That's kind of cool. Next, you got the updated items. Updated items for the Sentinels of Stormreach chain have been changed. So before you had to get like, this item used to be like the chipped sword or something, and then you would apply the different glyphs to it, and then it would become the Chimera's Fang Bastard Sword. Well, now it just drops as the Chimera's Fang, which is way more convenient, and they're slightly updated. So this weapon still has the Dragon Shard focus with the Sentinel, which is pretty cool, but now it gives Stunning, Maiming, and Electrifying. Awesome item, especially for heroics. If you're going to be using a Bastard Sword, this is a must-have for easy leveling. Next, got the Allied Edge. I hate how everything defaults down here, but whatever, I guess that's fine. You can still read it. Allied Edge is pretty rad. It's got Charisma, Devotion, Anthem, and Silver. It's basically the same, except Charisma 4 and Devotion is really nice to have on a weapon. You're probably still not going to use this very often, but if you really want to get into the feel of playing a bard, it's not too bad. Then you have a weapon I'm very excited for, the Hellstroke Heavy Mace. This is a heavy mace that has 23% double strike. It's got some cold iron on it. It's got impact. It's got some maiming, so it does extra maiming damage. And it has that nice threat range of or not threat range, but extra damage on it. So I'm actually playing as a mace character. The two maces that I'm using, instead, I'm using the legendary Beacon of Day and, of course, the legendary Beacon of Night. Overall, I think that this might get used. It could potentially be a one of. The nice thing about it is that it's got double strike 23%, which means that if you're already using something like the Molten Silver Gauntlets, like I'm wearing right now, then the only stat you'd have to sub off of the Molten Silver Gauntlets is armor piercing onto another item. And if you can manage to get armor piercing somewhere else, or another set of gauntlets that applies armor piercing, you can replace your gauntlets and use that item. Right now, if you're using any type of mace build, which you're probably not, but if you are, then you're actually going for the set bonus for using both Beacon of Day and Beacon of Night, which is the heavy warfare set down here for 15 melee power and 15 artifact bonus double strike and offhand strike chant, or offhand double strike. The offhand double strike is really, really nice on this item, but you never know. It could potentially be good. I definitely want to see it. And worst case scenario, it might be good for the cosmetic game, so I'm gonna have to check out the cosmetics in a bit. Next, you got Lightning Coil. Lightning Coil is a light mace that is all about electricity. So, lightning lore, magnetism, evocation focus, good stats you want, especially if you're a lightning caster. But the big thing is the static attraction, a unique effect. So it says, this weapon attracts static electricity over time. So every 5 seconds you gain a static charge, up to 3 static charges. And each charge gives you 10% or plus 10 spell power and 5% crit. So if you just happen to be sitting out of combat after over 15 seconds, you're going to generate, I think it's every 5 seconds? Yeah, after 15 seconds, you're going to generate yourself an extra 15% crit. So pretty much in between every fight, you get an extra 5% crit chance. And that's pretty rad. I think the only downside to this weapon is that it's when you cast a spell, you lose the buff. But realistically, at the end of the day, it shouldn't be when you cast the spell. It should be when the spell's crit. If there was a meaningful change to that. The issue with this is that if you cast the spell and then it doesn't crit, then it's like you weren't even wearing the weapon. And that doesn't feel very good. So if it was something like when not critting, I think it might be a little bit better. Because if you have a high enough crit chance, with a weapon like this, it might still be considerable because you think you can get 80% crit chance with all the buffs with this one, which is still fairly consistent, but just, like I said, I think that might be a better way to do it. But either way, it's pretty cool. Definitely something you want to pick up if you're using a electric spellcaster type character. Next, you got Midnight Greetings updated, the Q-Cree. Now, Midnight Greetings is very interesting. It's also a little bit different, but it's really cool. It's got Entropic, so untyped damage, Deception 2, +2 to hit, and +4 sneak attack damage, which is really, really good, and then regular Deception. This item is very, very powerful. I highly recommend it a lot. If you are looking for a rogue-type weapon, especially if you want to play Assassin Rogue, Midnight Greetings is 100% the way to go. Midnight Greetings is just a really, really good weapon, especially since it's got the untyped damage. And the new changes coming up to Reaper difficulty, swinging in with Update 40, allowing damage to always do a minimum of 1 against Reaper targets. This is really, really nice, because it's got 2 D6s on there. Next, you got the Night Shard. Night Shard is a brand new scimitar that is going to be coming out with the raid. All these items that I'm reviewing are raid items, or because they got that red border. Now, the raid items, this one is an interesting scimitar. There's 2 scimitars actually coming out with this. There's the raid scimitar and the non-raid one. I believe the non-raid one's down here. Or is it raid as well? Ooh, it might be a raid scimitar as well. I don't know. Anyway, oh yeah, it is. There are 2 raid items. Very cool. Well, this is one of the 2 raid scimitars, and it's pretty good. It does like a slow effect because it says enemies hit by the weapon are played by their slowed, or they're played by their visions of their past and future selves, so they get slowed down. It's also got an utter disintegration, so it's not too bad. Pretty good, just decent damage scimitar. Would you use this scimitar? Yes, I would use the scimitar. Although I wouldn't dual wield this scimitar, which looks like a rapier for some reason. I wouldn't dual wield this one because the reflection of Frostbraid, which we're going to talk about in a minute, is significantly better. But this is still a very good weapon. Having the base 7 and a d6 +3 for being a raid item, definitely a good weapon, good thing to check out for. Next, we got the reflection of Angdrelv, which is the great sword. It has a bunch of weird effects. So the reflection weapons are upgraded weapons. It hasn't been explicitly said how you get these upgraded weapons, but it's supposed to be, you are supposed to play the game to do something, and it's sort of like an upgrade path. So you need to have the original item to be able to get them. So check this out. We've got on here, oh god, one sec. Making video. I'm busy. So, check this out. So we got Thorny Crown of Madness. Legendary weapon resonates with a cruel and delightful madness. Strikes with this weapon have a chance to confuse your target. Furthermore, it deals 9d6 chaos damage. Basically, it's 9d6... hits with this weapon against confused targets deal 9d6 chaos damage. So it confuses guys, which is pretty rad. I don't I've never seen confusion be terribly useful for monsters actually attacking each other, but it does kind of make them stop doing stuff and attacking random directions, so it can be cool there. It's got 96 acid damage, it does 5 con damage every hit, and legendary Slay Living. So enemies must make a DC 100 Fortitude save on hit. Oh, it has a chance. Sorry, it has a chance of snuffing out the life. I was like, oh my god, it just does it every hit. No, it has a chance of doing it. So yeah, this decently good weapon. It does suffer a couple problems. Number one, on-hit effects are always going to be categorically worse on two-handed weapons, because two-handed weapons don't hit as quickly as like dual wielding. While dual wielding, I can hit multiple times per second. Reflection of Angdrelv is not going to hit nearly as many times. So the wounding, 5 constitution damage is pretty cool, but again, you don't get nearly as many attacks. It's much better to have that on like a rapier, a dagger, or any type of one-handed weapon. Is this weapon going to be good? It's not too bad. It's a fairly decent weapon. It's worse than Black Razor, so it's not quite as good. And we have upgraded Black Razor right here, so upgraded Black Razor's even better than this. And I honestly don't think it is better than, I believe, what's it called? Sanctity, the raid item out of Strahd. So I think that this item is just a little bit worse than that. But it is interesting. You might want to use it for like the feeling, and it depends on how powerful the chaos effect actually turns out to be. Oopsie, I'm supposed to bother the wrong one. Now we have Reflection of Black Razor, upgraded Black Razor. Yeah, that's right, upgraded. So upgraded Black Razor is kind of weird. It has an extra long box of text, so get ready. Basically, when you hit a guy, it reduces their will saves, armor class, and fortification by 1 for a max of 10 stacks. So that's kind of cool. And then it also has a chance to kill the foe. So sometimes for a DC 100 will save or die, if they have over 10,000 life, they don't die. And then it has the whole soul stealing stack for the health, or for the extra damage that the original Black Razor has. Then it still has Entropic, 96 damage, Vampirism, awesome healing effect, especially now that Reaper mode cannot reduce the healing down to 1. So this is always going to heal you for 4 every time you strike, which is kind of cool as a minimum. Then you get Psychic Ward, so it's just the same thing. This is upgraded Black Razor. Would I use this? Absolutely. It reduces the armor class and fortification. My understanding is that this is a separate type of fortification and armor class reduction. So if you're playing like a fighter or somebody who has a destruction effect from a different weapon, like improved destruction, something like that, you could also apply that on top of this, continually reducing their armor class and fortification. Could potentially be very useful. I definitely think that this is an item you're going to see people running around with. It looks fairly good. Next, we got the really, really powerful scimitar, the one you should really be looking forward to, which is Reflection of the Frostblade. So you want to make sure, this is the weapon I would definitely seriously consider dual wielding. It does less damage than the Night Shard, but it sort of does less damage than Night Shard. So Night Shard has the Identity Crisis, the slow, and has that disintegration effect. However, the Reflection of Frostblade, it's got chilling, ice damage, Evil Outsider Bane, kind of whatever. It's silver, but mostly it's got legendary freezing ice. When you strike the guys, you have a chance of freezing enemies in solid ice. It's a pretty low chance. However, if you happen to have 2 of them and you attack very, very quickly, which Tempest Rangers happen to do, this is basically like Leopard's Chill. If you ever use Leopard's Chill when playing, it just gives you a chance to automatically freeze guys. That's really, really good. I don't know why I just jumped and got rid of all that stuff. But the Leopard's Chill was really, really powerful weapon that existed back in the day. You can get it, well, back in the day. You can still get it out of the Temple of Elemental Evil, and it is a very powerful weapon. Well, this weapon is like Leopard's Chill 2.0. It's Leopard's Chill on steroids. Very powerful item. If you're playing as a Tempest Ranger, even I think it looks like Leopard's Chill as well. If you're playing as any type of Tempest Ranger, especially scimitar based, you're going to want to get yourself the Reflection of the Frostblade. Yeah, it's pretty much going to be the best weapon you can go with. It's going to be way better than the damage one for Reaper mode. Damage one, you probably essentially want to have 2 sets. You want to have the two of the damage one to go for fighting bosses, and then you swap into dual wielding Frostblades when you are going for what do you call it? The like regular trash mobs because of the freezing effect. And also, I'm going to buy 2 of all of these one-handed weapons so I can show off how cool they look when you have 2 of them. Because I'm a boss like that, and I can dual wield. Next, we got the Reflection of the Wave Quarterstaff. So it's an improved quarterstaff for the wave. It has a lot of good stuff on here. So same thing that you saw on the sphere, the orb basically. Paragon of Cerulean, so your ice spells can freeze stuff. Pretty much everything else is the same. Except it has 2 additional effects. One, which is greater water elemental form. So as a druid, you don't want to use the orb. You want to use this, which or even potentially as a sorcerer. It's whether you're in water elemental form or benefit from Wave's Icy Shield spell. You benefit from 5 additional caster levels for your cold spells, as well as 50 exceptional cold spell power and 20% cold spell crit chance. This means it's actually possible to get 90% spell crit chance as a cold sorcerer, and about, I think it's 84% as a druid. Really, really powerful. Both of them being able to penetrate resistances. This item's a little nutty. This is a little nutty. This makes me think that you could make a cold spellcaster and be good. So I'm definitely going to try that out. You'll see some cold sorcerer. Not so much cold druid. I'm not a cold druid guy, but cold sorcerer. You'll probably see some of that on me. This is the best caster item for cold druid and cold sorcerer, so make sure you check that out. Swirly Ice Shield as well is a ridiculous buff where it reduces all damage you take by 25% for 1 minute. Very, very, very powerful. So this is a must-have item for any type of cold caster. Check it out for sure. Go get one of these. Very powerful item. I'm really excited to see what you can do with something like this. Next, you got Reflection of Whelm. So Whelm was a warhammer that was okay, and now we have Reflection of Whelm. This is a warhammer that is still okay. It has tremendous shockwave, so on Vorpal Strike, that is confirmed as a critical hit, it does a sonic damage that hits all foes, and it causes them to be dazed, which is kind of cool. It's got a bit of like a defensive property on that. Then you got Blunt Trauma, rolling a 19 or 20. You get an extra +1 critical multi on your attack. Kind of cool. And then it has this Bone Splitter, where if you roll a Vorpal, this is a very Vorpal heavy weapon. It causes enemies to weapon breaks multiple bones in their body. They take a whole ton of physical damage. It just says damage. I'm assuming it's untyped or bludgeoning, as well as slowing their movement speed and attack speed. So this weapon isn't bad, but it suffers from the fact that it's a Warhammer, which means you have to be a Warhammer using guy. Most characters don't even use Warhammers at all, so just be very mindful of that. This is something you do have to kind of build around because you want to be a bludgeoning using character. It's not too bad though. The one downside is that you can't use this if you want to try to use like Artificer. Surprisingly bad Artificer weapon. Artificers want to be using greater single weapon fighting. This is more of a dual wield type weapon, and the reason is because this has on Vorpal Strike, it does the shockwave, and this one has Bone Splitter on an attack roll of 20 that's converted as a critical hit. If it was on a Vorpal and not an attack roll which is converted to a critical hit, it'd be better because single weapon fighting, or perfect single weapon fighting, allows you to Vorpal on a 19 or a 20, meaning both of these effects would be proccing all the time. So with your single weapon, you'd be able to do a lot of damage. It would be fantastic. But the way it's currently programmed, or I'm assuming it would be programmed, that wouldn't work. So it kind of hampers it a little bit. Not going to be used by Artificers, which are primarily the only Warhammer users. Not sure who would want to go for this weapon, but it exists. So we'll take a look at what it looks like when you dual wield them. Next, you got Soul Sorrow, the Bastard Sword. Soul Sorrow is just like Reflection of Angdrelv, except it is a Bastard Sword. So it's got Legendary Slay Living, Echo of Angdrelv. We just talked about it. Now, being a Bastard Sword, this is actually a better weapon because one-handed weapons are better than two-handed because of the way the attack speed works. This one can also propagate just like a two-handed weapon because it can hit the glancing blows on targets, but you'd probably be better off dual-wielding them. Could be pretty cool. Soul Razor is a one-handed longsword that is basically the same as Reflection of Black Razor. So this is now the best longsword in the game. Before this, there were no good longswords. The best longsword was a Morning Lord's longsword. Now you can have Soul Razor. Sorry, my foot's really itchy. I gotta lean down. Soul Razor is really good. This is the best longsword. If you're playing a Sovereign Host, Cleric, or Favored Soul, you're going to want to go for this. If you want to play a Paladin, you're going to want to go for this. Yeah, this is basically just the best sword. So if you want to use a longsword, this is the best one. You have to use Soul Razor. Next, we got Staff of Irion. This is a really cool weapon. I'm thinking you guys will like this one a lot. So it's got a couple of neat effects. I don't know what the charges are. What are the charges? Yeah. So anyway, so it's got Deific Focus 3. So when you cast a spell, you get a buff to the DCs of that spell school that stacks up to 3 times, which is cool. And it changes based on the spell that you cast. So if you are casting up on different spells, like I said, it'll be stacking up. So that's really cool. So if you cast Evocation Spell, Evocation Spell, Evocation Spell, the 4th one is going to have +3 on its DCs, which is kind of rad. You've got Purifying Flameblower, so Fire and Light spells gain a bunch of stats. Fire and Light spell power. Irion's Fury. This quarterstaff is attuned to Protective Light. If quarterstaffs are your favorite weapon, while you are projecting an Aura of Menace, you can absorb 20 spells per rest. Oh, that's the spell absorption. That's pretty rad. I like that a lot, except it says 20 spells per rest and recharges 10 per rest. That's stupid. That should be changed. This should be 20 because that's literally what it says on the item. But anyways, so that's kind of cool. This is a really fantastic effect. It means that if you're playing as a favorite soul, you get a cool kind of bonus. Now, if you're not playing as a favorite soul and you don't have the Aura of Menace, instead you can have Irion's Might. If quarterstaffs are your favorite weapon, whenever you expend a charge of turn undead, you become favored by Irian, increasing your fire and light spell critical damage by 5%, quality bonus for 20 seconds. So you kind of just like constantly turn undead. You want to be a Orion cleric, and you just go boom, casting spells out there. It also has Brazen Brilliance, which is the Shroud legendary effect. Really, really powerful. This is a fantastic item if you're playing as a spellcaster. You kind of need to get this item if you're playing as any type of light spellcaster. Now, the problem is the best light spellcasting item in the game that has ever been released was a Scepter, and it came out in literally the last patch. It's in White Blue Mountain. I don't know how you balance that. I think Staff of Irian is probably better, but now you actually have to choose, and I don't really like that much, but that's them's the breaks, kids. Next, we have the Staff of Shadow. Staff of Shadow, very easy thing. It's just a quarterstaff that's ×3. Is this really good? Probably. I actually think this might be one of the best items out there. This is going to make quarterstaffs kind of really, really, really powerful. They already are, playing as a Thief, Acrobat, Rogues, okay, but Hench and Mystics do like major work in endgame right now. This is an insane item. Just having that extra ×3, considering how much you can increase the critical threat range of your quarterstaffs, just consider how powerful the Sword of Shadow is. Now, granted, this isn't Sword of Shadow levels. Sword of Shadow was a 18 to 20 ×3. So this is a significantly worse item than the Sword of Shadow, but it's really high level. So the numbers kind of multiply out in a weird way. I don't think this item is going to eclipse anything. In fact, I don't think the Staff of Shadow is even better than the other raid 2-handed weapons. Like something like Reflection of Black Razor is going to be doing, like it's already got double the base damage of the Staff of Shadow. But still, you could do some shenanigans. It's an exciting weapon. It's got 3 augment slots. Could be pretty cool. After the Staff of Shadow, you have the Time Shard, which is just like the Time Blade. It's going to be a neat item. It's got Double Strike, Identity Crisis, Legendary Paralysis, and Freedom of Movement. This item's interesting because it's the first good short sword. Not universally good short sword. There is the Sun Sword, but it's an okay weapon that you can get from Strahd. This one gives Legendary Paralysis, DC 100, save or be stunned. Definitely worse than a lot of the other effects like the DC 100 save or die, but still pretty good. And then apparently it's got the Identity Crisis effect as well. This one could see some use. The problem I have with this is just worse than the Scimitar, and there are no short sword using guys, so the Scimitar is going to pull you better. So I would definitely recommend looking into, what is this item? The Night Shard as opposed to the Time Shard. The Night Shard is just a better Time Shard. Then you got Tornado. Tornado is really weird. I wouldn't say good. It's odd. It's got sonic damage. It has legendary slicing winds. So when you hit a guy, it's going to cause like a little air beam or like air whirlwind thing to come out of you and hit the guy. Kind of cool. Does some damage. Legendary Telekinesis have a chance to knock guys down, and Legendary Sirocco have a chance of blinding them. Is this weapon good? It all depends on how often it procs. If it doesn't proc very often, this weapon is bad. If it procs a lot, this weapon could be useful. Again, the big problem is that it doesn't have any way to, it doesn't have the base increased critical threat multiplier, not multiplier, but it doesn't have like keen or anything on it. So you do want to make sure you're actually using a character spec to use hand axes, and then you doesn't have any bonus damage, so it's only a base 5. Not a terrible weapon, could potentially be good on bards. Bards do make a lot of good use out of a lot of that stuff, so you can definitely see some good hand axe usage out of bards. So we'll take a look to see what that is, what that looks like. Next, you got the Chimera's Crown. It's the updated helmet for the Sentinel's chain. Spell resistance, natural armor, and minor lesser dragon mark enhancement, which will give you more lesser dragon mark usage. You wouldn't wear this helmet, though, but it's still cool. But you wouldn't wear this helmet. It's not good. Next, you got Cloak of the Mountain. Insightful Charisma, Spell Focus Mastery, Spell Penetration, Spell Cast on the Run. This is awesome. This is a fantastic weapon, or cloak. This is just absolutely great. I gotta buy it to see what it does. But Insightful Charisma on a cloak is just hallelujah. There's so many items like boots and other crap with Insightful Charisma. Give me like the cloak slot. The cloak slot's where the charisma's supposed to go. So this is great. Spellcast on the run is just nice. I hate having to jump cast all the time. I would still jump cast with this, but it's just, I hate the fact that we have to do that. And it's part of the Mountain Skin set, which gives you 15% exceptional bonus to Acid Spell Lore. And a chance to, while struck, you get a Spellstone Skin cast on you. This is crazy. 15% stacking spell crit. This could make Acid Sorcerers actually competitive. They're not competitive, but they'll be more powerful. This will be a very, very big boon for Acid Sorcerers. Next, we got the Gauntlets of the Storm Reaver. A very, very interesting item. I would consider potentially, if I can get the Hellstroke Great Axe or Hellstroke Heavy Mace to work for this character, I could conceivably replace the gauntlets that I have on, the Molten Silver gauntlets here, if I can do that, with the gauntlets of the Stormreaver. First, I got the Thunderclap. When you roll a Vorpal, it has a burst of lightning for a whole bunch of damage. I don't know how much damage, but it looks exciting. Then it's got Protection 16. It's got Insightful Sheltering 26. Insightful Sheltering, of course, very, very powerful. And then Lightning Resistance 78. Enhanced bonus to Electric Resist. Pretty cool. Reduce the damage you take. Not too bad. Would I use this item? Like I said, if I could fit it in. I like the Insightful Sheltering. They'll bring my Sheltering to, I think, like 230 while blitzing, so that's kind of cool. The Wind Howler Mask. Another very interesting item. It's got Relentless Fury, a stat which we haven't seen on gear for a little while. Insightful Dexterity 9 on a mask, and then double shot. Plus, it's got Tendon Slice. It has a 6% chance to do Tendon Slice, but this is quite powerful. It's a decently long slow, and that slow will be very useful if you're playing like a thrower. I pretty much see Shuriken throwers as the only guys that would use this, but it could be very interesting. Next, we got the Blazemark Docent, the updated Docent. Physical Sheltering, Life Shield, and Vulnerability. Fantastic. This is a amazing Docent. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10. Go get this Docent. Very, very good. Perfect for leveling. This is an awesome item. I don't know what it looks like, though. Oh, I didn't check out the Wind Howler Mask. Beneath, Heavy Chain. Same thing. Really great item. I'm going to check out what it looks like so you guys can see that. Mail of the Morornen. It is the new medium armor. Is this item good? It's got strength on armor. Not too bad. Strength is always in bad item slots. Being on armor is pretty cool. Still gives physical sheltering and fortification. Raging Inferno. Your true rage effects, so ones that lock you out of casting spells, light you on fire as if you're under the effects of Fire Shield. It also protects you from the energy drain for the duration. Pretty good. If you're playing as a druid, you probably don't care about this item, but if you're playing as a barbarian, not too bad. Strength on your chest piece means you can prioritize other stats in other places, and the chest piece out of Ravenloft is not really that great, so this one is a little bit more exciting. Definitely would try to use this on a barbarian. Next, we got the Null Skill Armor. Null Skill Armor is very weird. It's got Null Magic Guard. On being hit with a spell, there's a small chance of the exploding arcane energies, which prevents spell casting and damage their magical protections for 10 seconds. So it dispels everything near you and prevents them from spell casting, which is kind of cool. And then Magical Null Cloth. What was it? It's it's made from spell, or was it? Make it even Divine Casters. This item actually has one of the only items in the game to have a negative effect. So it makes it so that because you're wearing it, you have a 15% spell failure chance regardless of your class. This is potentially going to make this item dead in the water. Not being able to cast any spells, you have to think about it like this. If you're playing in a difficulty setting where you don't have to worry about your spells not going off, remember this level 29 item. If you're playing in a difficulty setting where the fact that if one of your spells doesn't go off, you don't die and it's not a big deal, well, then the fact that this silence effect could also work doesn't matter. That's kind of what we're getting at here. If like your healing going off is not going to save you, because you're not dying that much, it's not that much of an emergency, then there's also no urgency to get the silence effect off. So, yeah. Also, the risk you take is I might blow my spells, but then sometimes when I get hit with spells, it knocks people over or silences them or something and takes away their magical protections. This item's not good. Don't use this item, please. I'm not even going to check out what it looks like. It's not good. Overwhelming Impact, the Throwing Hammer. This item is identical to the, what's it called? The other hammer, Reflection of Whelm, except it's a throwing hammer. Is this good? No. But it is cool. There should be more throwing hammers. There are no throwing hammer classes, and there's no synergy in the game for throwing hammers yet, so no classes will use this. But if a class is changed so that it can work with throwing hammers, that would be very cool. Bracers of the Mountain, which is the item that goes with the Cloak of the Mountains. It's got Physical Sheltering, Insightful Physical Sheltering, Insightful Spell Penetration, Petrification Immunity, and it's the other piece. This is awesome. Earthbound sorcerers are going to be the guys that want to have all the physical resistance and sheltering because they're literally rock guys. So with this, they can actually hit physical resistance ratings of probably about 150, even in robes, maybe even getting close to 180. That's pretty cool. So you definitely want to get this on your Asset Orc. Cloud of Dreams. This is the Caster Ring. If you don't happen to have one of these spell crit enhancing items like all the other classes get, Universal Spell Lore, 10% exceptional. It's the best one. Insightful Spell Focus. It's going to add +4 to the DCs of all your spells. When guys hit you, they could die. It just reduces your spell points by 5%. And it also has a penalty to will saves of 2. Is this good? Absolutely. Pretty much if you're not playing as a character that already has all the insightful bonuses already, this is the tack it on. If you're playing as a healer, you're probably going to use this one. If you're playing as, a fire sorcerer, you're going to use Clouded Dreams. If you're playing as so many different classes, you're probably going to use Clouded Dreams. It's just the specific ones here aren't using Clouded Dreams. So keep that in mind. The Allied Charm. This is one of the most unique items in this entire set. It provides Anthem, Charisma 20, Insightful Devotion 104, I don't know why, and Anthem Melody. This is very cool, Imperial Resonance. This powerful item is attuned to your ability to attune to magical music. Wow, attuned to attune. Someone's got to rewrite that. This is attuned to your ability to attune? No. If you have 3 or more sources of Anthem, it provides 30 exceptional sonic spell power and 15% exceptional sonic spell lore. Fantastic item, great for bards. It's just a necklace that gives you the spell crit. Sonic spell classes usually get left in the dirt. This is fantastic. Getting Anthem on items also isn't tough because there's Anthem on basically all the bard items. So very, very cool. I'm excited to see how that works out. Jits Tekka, basically the same. So obviously monks will still use this. No comment. Ring of the Silver Tongue is the assassin item. Look at this. Assassinate, Insightful Deception, and Improved Deception. Amazing. If you're playing as a rogue type character, if you're playing as a falconer, you are using this item. That's it. Some characters might even want to fit it in anyway. It's got this Insightful Deception, so as long as you're qualifying for sneak attack bonus, you're getting +8 bonus to hit and +12 to damage. That's not nothing. That's actually pretty good. So I would highly recommend checking this item out. Really, really good item. Don't know why it's called the Ring of Silver Tongue, considering it's all about assassination, but whatever. Next, we got the Trinket of Free Will. It is a trinket, magical style trinket, spell resistance 46, insightful wisdom, psychic ward. Great item. There's not any good insightful wisdom items. Now there is one, and it's a trinket. Trinket slot is traditionally not used by a lot of the wisdom characters. Talking about bear druids, talking about all the spell casters. This is a fantastic item. 10 of 10. Great item. Good design. And it has spell resistance 46. That's kind of cool. Updated Winter's Wrath. I guess it's got glaciation. I don't know. This item's dumb. This stupid item. And then Chimera's Breath. Chimera's Breath's pretty cool. It just gives you proficiency with Bastard Sword. I don't think this item's actually different. Is it? No, it looks the same to me. Anyway, Chimera's Breath looks the same. So that's all the items. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to showcase off all the items, see how pretty they are, so you guys can take a look, and then that will be the end of the video here. So to start, we're going to go with the orb. The orb is actually a book. That's definitely not the right item. Soul Razor, the longsword. I guess I can put on 2 of them. Soul Razor does look pretty good. I like it. It's got the whole Black Razor feel. It's just like a small Black Razor basically. Not too bad. I really like the way Black Razor looks, so that's kind of pretty. Next we have the Time Shard, I believe, and it looks devastating. It just looks exactly like the Time Blade, just a little bit shorter and a little bit fatter. I kind of love this. This is a really pretty weapon. I might consider converting my items to look like that. Cloak of the Mountain. How does it look? It's a raid cloak. It looks wow. Wow, that's how it looks. I really hope it looks better than that, because that is how it looks. I am disappointed. Next, we got the sickles. How do the sickles look? How do the sickles look? Bound to character. Does this only go in the main hand? The sickle only goes in the main hand. Huh. So you can't use the sickle with anything else. That's weird. It's got this cool crescent shape to it. I don't understand this weapon. This seems bad. You can't even dual wield them. I don't understand this weapon. Next, we got the Time Shard. Time Shard is a fantastic scimitar that can actually get dual wielded. It looks really pretty. Look at it. I like the look of that. I like the edges. It's kind of nice. It looks scary. It's got the edges on the back. We got the mask. I believe this is in another quest. It looks like almost nothing. It's got a little thing on my face. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to look. Cool, nonetheless. Not sure if it's right. Be aware, some of the cosmetics might not actually be uploaded. Next, we got Reflection of Angdrelv. Really scary looking hook sword. I'm a big fan of that one. I like that a lot. Next, we got the Chaos Bow. Again, big fan of this weapon. Look at this. Look how scary this bow looks. Holy moly. Good weapon, good coloration. Big fan of that. It looks pretty cool. Now we got the Mail of the Moronin. Let's throw that one on. See how that looks. Ooh, I like that. It's got that green going on there. I like, I like a lot of the features. Yeah, it's pretty cool. That plate, that shoulder plate, looks kind of pretty. I can get behind that. Next, we got the Hellstroke Heavy Mace. How does it look? I kind of want to dual wield these. Oh, man, it's got the extending mace bits behind. Oh, I love that. Look at this. Fantastic. It's got those pieces going behind. It's like I'm holding not chandeliers, what are the things that you go on the wall to put the torches in? Whatever you call them? Torches? I don't know. That looks fantastic. I love it. Holy smokes. Next, we got the Reflection of the Frostblade. I only bought one for some reason, but it's Leopard's Shell. I love the way Leopard's Shell looks, so I'm actually happy to see this weapon return. Can't complain about that. Denise Heavy Chain. Let's see how that looks. I don't know if the item got actually updated. See what we got. You know what? Not too bad. I kind of like the way the heavy chain kind of like drapes over one side of the body. It looks pretty cool. I like that one. Reflection of Black Razor. It is the same as Black Razor, so you won't be able to tell whether somebody has one or the other based on looking at them, which is kind of unfortunate. Then we got the Lightning Coil. Gonna dual wield some Lightning Coil. Ooh, look at that. It's literally a Lightning Coil. Okay, that's good. I like that a lot. Lightning Coil looks fantastic. This is the Dispel On-Cast Observer Ward. Static Distraction Dispel. Huh. Okay. Cool. Next, we got Reflection of Whelm. Reflection of Whelm is big. It's got a big hammer, and it's got like some inscriptions on the side of it. Look how I like that. Look at I don't know what's carved into it. I don't know what those symbols mean, but really pretty. Good warhammer. No one's gonna use it, but looks kind of cool. Staff of Irion. Woo! Oh, baby! Look at those rings. If only the rings moved, that would be sick. Like if they jangled around and stuff. But man, this weapons look good, especially on an Azamar. Holy smokes, that's sick. Contrast that to the Reflection of Wave, which is of course amazing. The quarterstaff here, like that a lot. And then we have the 2 hand axes here. Wow, look at these hand axes. Oh my goodness, Tornado looks fantastic. Man, I wish these items were better, but they're not. My God. Anyway, that is my review of all these items. So if you like what you saw, please do leave me a comment. Which item is your favorite? What do you think is going to be the best? What are you going to use? And let me know. Either way, I'm excited for all these items, and I'm excited for the new raid content. Hopefully it'll be really, really good. So we'll see. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and have a super great day.